That's
Or
right.
like I was saying, you could be scarred. Like it could be something that happened in your life that made you say, you know what? Now every time something happens, now I withdraw from people because I know
That's my
that's
trigger.
I am. Now I
Mhm.
don't want to talk to anyone. I
Yeah.
don't answer the phone. I just stay to myself. And that becomes unhealthy in itself.
Absolutely. When a different choice, and so when we talk about coaching and counseling, if someone shared that with me, one of the things that I would do is say, okay, so let's focus on whether or not that's too big of a step to take. Like so and so backstabbed you, or they made you feel a certain way. So let's deal with that. And what we learn from that is that there are some people that really don't need to be in your circle, that are untrustworthy. You need to be smart and know that it's like, burn me once, shame on me, burn me twice, shame on you, right? So once you know that, carve that out, and then say, why do I keep drawing these same kind of people with these qualities and characteristics? What choice am I making? You see, because I always bring it back to you. And I always bring it back to me. It's like, why are these same people? Everywhere I go, I'm running into the same problem. Guess who the common denominator is? Me. So I was like, what is it about me? So I said, okay, I've got to start making different choices. So I'm not going to go to the extreme and block everybody out, but my circle is going to get very, very small. I'm not going to fall for the okie dokie next time. I'm not going to fall for that, right? Because I've learned from that. So I've leveraged the mistake. I've leveraged the pain
I like that.
for my good, if that makes sense. I don't
Yep.
waste anything. Like, I grew up in a family of 8, mom and dad, 8. We grew up modest means. My mom and dad didn't have a high school education. I didn't know we were poor until I got older, and then look back and I'm like, we
We were struggling.
we were poor.
We was cocoa.
Exactly. Yeah, but as a result of some of that upbringing, I was just taught not to waste. So you didn't waste food and you didn't waste some of that stuff. Well, today, I still have some of that with me, but it's not about so much wasting food and wasting stuff like that. It's wasting situations. It's wasting circumstances. Don't waste those either. Don't let a crisis go to waste. The pandemic, don't let anything that you're experiencing go to waste. Leverage it, use it, learn from it, flip it for your greater good. And that's choice. That's what I mean when I say making intelligent, inspired, intentional, individual choice. It's a formula that you use and that I've coined in the book. So.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I have another
I'm
question.
sold. I'm sold. Okay, I did my account.
Look, you ain't gotta tell me twice.
Just let me know where I can. I got it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Actually, I think I have
Amazon.com.
yeah, I think I have a link for
Where's
Amazon.
my iPad?
I think I have the link. I think Pam sent me the link. So I'm gonna send it to you, Lika.
Yeah, serious. I ain't playing with y'all. Look.
So I
I'm
have a
at the point in my life I
question.
need this.
Do you need closure? Because I'm one of those people, I don't believe in closure because I'm like, leave it the way it left off. Because then you'll always remember. If it was good, it was good. If it was bad, it was bad. But you're left with that feeling. If you look for closure, it may sway you to believe something different or feel something different. Is that healthy? Because I don't believe that's healthy either, but
Yeah. So how I would answer that, like, I think about my own divorce. I got divorced, married the wrong person, made a choice, made an I choice to get out finally. There's lots of mistakes that I've made, but again, I focus on that word leverage. And so when I talk about closure, I didn't feel like I need to go back to the individual. It's an individual choice. That's where I choice comes in. So it's individual, but let me just say how I do it. For me, it was good enough for me to get closure in my mind, and what I mean, get clarity on what I did, why I did it, what happened, where I'm going. I needed to get, again, grounded, self-centered in what I was doing. I got to the point where no more guilt about, I grew up, you don't get a divorce or whatever. And it's like, no, you don't die either. You don't just sit in a relationship and be miserable. So I got closure that way in my own mind, but that was my individual choice. You may be different, and you may feel the need to write a letter, write it in a diary, go to the person. It's different for everybody. What I teach is, what do you want to do? What is your spirit telling you should do? Not what other people are saying, not what I'm saying, not what the pastor's saying, not what whatever the psychologist is saying. We have answers in us already because we are spirit beings in a human body. So we have our intuition, our gut, our spirit guides us if we would just take the time to listen. And I talk about that in chapter 1, actually. I call it the six steps to escaping mental agony that comes with indecision. So when you're unsure about what to do and you're questioning yourself, should I, maybe, and listening to other people? No. First of all, if you're saying, should I, and maybe, you're calling your best friend here and you're saying, what do you think I should do? That's a clear telltale sign that there's confusion, there's doubt. You may not really want to do it, and you shouldn't do it. Like, you never try to convince yourself of doing something that you want to do. You only try to convince yourself of doing things that you don't want to do. And you're trying to talk yourself into it or hear what other people have to say. And so I've started practicing, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. Like, if immediately I don't feel like yes, it's a no. And it's not a no in a bad way. It's all with love and kindness, but nevertheless, it's no, because I'm focusing on being self-centered. So I hope that answered your question, because it really is a personal choice. And I am here to tell you that you have the decision already in you if you would just stop and listen to it versus, trying to hear what other people are trying to say.
And that is big for me, because my daughter, we have this conversation, and she's the type, she asks a whole bunch of people questions about herself, and I don't ask anyone if I know if I want to do it or not. And so I'm telling, and I do it my way with her. I'm like, this really is a decision that you need to make yourself. Like, she wants me to kind of give her every step, but like, when you give people every step, then when the step goes wrong, it's you.
It's you. Then they want to blame you. They don't want to take total personal responsibility, right? And it's like, this is on you.
Well, you told me. I'm like, well, then, and I don't, and I looked at myself like something wrong, because I'm like, dang, I never asked anybody, well, what do you think? I don't ever actually care. I really never care.
Right.
I just don't. I'm like, this is what I want to do. I'm doing this. I don't need to ask 10 people about what I want to do. But then I feel like, well, dang, should I be doing that? I'm like, no, I don't. I know what I want.
You know what you want, right? Yep. That's that doubt. Should I? Maybe I should. And that's over anything. Whether it's in the book I talk about, it could be over something as simple as, should I eat that donut? If you're asking, should I eat that donut? You should not be eating
that damn donut. I already know.
Exactly.
Well, I'm going like this. I know.
So it's just those little tricks that if we can practice that on a daily basis, do you know what kind of mental freedom you would have? Because a lot of our stress comes from lamenting over these decisions. I don't know. Days, hours, weeks, months. No, let me make a decision real quick and move that on out of the way. Researchers show that we have, I think I read somewhere, 11 billion pieces of stimuli. I can't remember if it was a day, a week, or whatever. That's a lot, whatever it is. It's a lot of information coming our way, everywhere, driving down the street, listening to the radio, just in the house, whatever. You're getting messages to you all the time. You have got to find a way to carve most of that out and focus on your highest priorities and your highest goals and your biggest asset, which is you. You're your biggest and greatest asset.
So, how many chapters is in this book? Because I'm like,
Oh, I need that in my life. I'm
yeah.
Yeah,
waiting
so
on.
they're,
Look,
they're
Wait,
I
is it
got
a
my
workbook or is it
iPad
just a?
ready.
I think
I'm waiting to get on Amazon, right, and get the.
yeah, you got to
Yeah.
get it. It's so there are 11 chapters, and then there's a bonus chapter called it's just bonus tips, quips, and other radical and random rants. Like I was on a roll. You know, I wanted to say some stuff. It didn't fit nicely into the chapter, so I'm like, I'm gonna add this anyway and call it this chapter. So it's you know, part 1 talks about your personal life. It all starts with you. And I have, you know, 5 chapters there. Part 2 is your work life. So I broke it out into 3 parts. Your personal life, because I believe that any transformation, any change has to start with you first. If you start the other way around with external things, it's not gonna work. You have to have an internal mind, you know, and heart and spirit change. And then your work life, and there's 5 more chapters there. And then the last part 3 is your future life. It's like, okay, you've gotten yourself right. You got your work situation under perspective right. And now where are you going to go from here? And so it is a mixture of a book, but it also has lots of self-reflection exercises in it. So it forces you to stop and answer questions and think about why you do certain things and make a commitment to change. So it's a combo book.
What's your order?
Look, I'm about to say, because if it looked like we weren't paying attention, first of all, I could see that she was ordering it in her glasses, but I also forwarded her the email with the Amazon link.
Order. The glasses told.
Exactly.
Like, I'm done now.
I'm like, what is she looking at? And I'm like, looking at your glasses. I'm like, oh, okay, she's ordering the book.